Hello everyone, I'm back again. My name is Eostrix. Let's get into it. I'm not very good at gauging power levels, so these of course will not have a standard power level rating. Instead, they will have a rating of trash, jank, works, or god tier, depending on their performance within my friend group. But if you have an idea of how they would play outside of my friend group, please drop a comment below. All of my decks are budgeted cards usually around 25 to 50 cents, with scattered cards of $1 to $5, and occasionally cards that are above $5 that I pulled from packs, events, or just bought when they were cheap and rocketed in price. Today I'm introducing my commander deck of Prosper Tome-Bound. Prosper Tome-Bound is obviously helmed by Prosper Tome-Bound, which is a 1/4 Tiefling Warlock with Death Touch that has two abilities, Mystic Arcanum and Pact Boon. Mystic Arcanum states at the beginning of your end step, exile the top card of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card. Pact Boon states, whenever you play a card from exile, create a treasure token, which means he's a self-healing spellslinger in which we'll be abusing profusely. Most of the 3,965 decks on EDHRec focus on treasure, which we will be as well. Our mana curve is also eerily the same as EDHRec, so based on the assessment, I built this correctly back when the precon was first released. Now let me show you the 33% difference in cards and how they interact. As the name states, this deck is based around Storm, namely Grape Shop, Galvanic Ray, and Tendrils of Agony. The idea for how this deck works actually came from Helm of the Host, which makes a copy of any creature every combat, namely Prosper Tome-Bound. To begin, we have Brass's Bounty, which makes those heads-up pennies that you find on the ground. Gadget Crown Scourge, which finds those pennies in the bodies of creatures you just destroyed, and may be a potential commander for later on. Grim Hireling finds the pennies inside your friends' life totals. Helm of the Host brings Prospers from other universes to help make your friends hate you more. Stolen Strategy finds free cards from other libraries and makes them easier to cast, which can be replaced with Expedition Map on a budget. Stormkiln Artist, which is another Pact Boon ability that also works for the Storm mechanic due to the Magecraft ability. And Zorn, the treasure +1 for each treasure made. Academy Manufacturer, I cannot stress how many tokens I have made with this creature in any of my decks. I just love him so much. Arcane Signet, a mana rock, so more mana. Duh. Double Vision, it doubles the first instant or sorcery of our turn, which can be valuable after a few turns. And Mana Geyser, this has won way too many games, especially mixed with Surge to Victory, and for my friend, Crackle with Power. Palace Siege, recursion for our 23 creatures. It also has a drain ability for when games are getting into a stalemate. Piper of the Swarm, when you're mana flooded when without spells, and allows you to interact with the board. Sedgemoor Witch, a Stormkiln Artist, but it makes pests. Seething Song is a mana boost that works for our triggers. Works in the same combo as Mana Geyser as well, just less so. And Soul Ring, just because it's a good mana rock and it's cheap. Abbot of Carolkeep could honestly kill early on with no blockers, and it has a one-shot exiling ability. Act on Impulse is a one-shot end of turn 3 cards. As with all of these abilities from here on, we are hopefully trying to get the cheap ones. Commune with Lava is a 2-turn effect with flexibility. Conspiracy Theorist is a recursion and also cycling. I also mostly just like the name. Dream Devourer, Foretell is always hella useful, plus it adds complexity. Florian Voldaren Scion, anticipate once per turn with varying size. Galvanic Ray, storming capable of making more storm. Weird, huh? Gonti, Lord of Luxury, steals a card and then makes a good creature. Ignite the Future, varying effect, but makes future turns fun as it says. Is it Chemister? I didn't know this existed till I made this deck, which I'm then going to be adding it to more. Outpost Siege, possibly adds a card to your hand, or just makes a creature into Death Pingers. Share the Spoils, this card is actually really fun, and I love it so much. It makes the game interactive, and I also realized my playgroup has been doing this wrong this entire time. So that's fixed as of today. Theater of Horrors, it pulls cards outside your hand, but requires damage to your opponents, or otherwise it just requires a minimum of 4 mana. For damage, we have Disciple of Devault, damages each opponent every treasure sacked. Flame Channeler, gets counters from damage to then exile stuff. Marionette Master, a hard hitter with the +1/+1s, but if you know it's gonna die, it just makes bodies on the ground that ain't a bad replacement. Mayhem Devil, damages for anyone sacking, so take that as you will. Nadier's Nightblade, damage from any token leaving play. I'm gonna add this to other decks now that I read this. Rakdos Charm, a variety and funny thing to cast on a token player when you have only Prosper on board. Consuming Vapors, a card that recasts itself from exile, makes people sack their Voltron commanders. RIP. Cunning Rhetoric makes people not want to attack you, and it yoinks a card. Dead Man's Chest, a combo piece to yoink cards from someone's deck by killing their biggest creature with this attached. Tali Primal Storm, basically a Wincon, but casts free spells while also being a big as fuck creature. Fervent Suspicions, built purposefully for Prosper. Use it, dammit. Fiend of Shadows, on damage yoinks a card, requires more interaction, thus its placement here. Hedonist Trove, one of my favorite cards, and you get to play someone's graveyard very slowly. Caro Mind Eater, you yoink a card from someone's hand on damage. Mind Leecher, fair yoinking of a card on a mutate cast. And you find some prisoners, variable artifact removal, or Exiling Anticipate. Bag of Devouring, just card draw and sack outlet with possible recursion. Crush the Weak, Foretell, and a board wipe that doesn't kill our commander. Cry of the Carnarium, a board wipe. Doomblade, my favorite kill spell by a long shot, and it's fun to say. Dreadboard, a flexible kill spell. Go for the Throat, a kill spell. Hurl Through Hell, a very Rakdos way of stealing a creature. Infernal Grasp, kill spell with some cool as fuck art. Lightning Bolt, I threw this in here just as an excuse to get one. And Terminate, regenerate this creature no more. Bag of Holding removes discarding as a bad thing. Order of Midnight, optional recursion, can cast from exile. Sign in Blood, card draw. Soul Salvage, recursion. Thought Vessel, min-max hand size, and its mana rock. Unearth, recursion with optional cycling. Now for our main win cons, as stated earlier. Grape Shot, when you deal 1 damage to any target. Storm. Surge to Victory, exile an instant sorcery from your graveyard. Copy it for each instance of combat damage. And Tendrils of Agony, where you drain a target 2 life and gain 2 life. Storm. For draining, you can also use Disciple of the Vault, Marionette Master, Mayhem Devil, and Nadier's Nightblade for your treasures. And for another win con, you can cast your opponent's cards and maybe somehow find combat damage, which both of which are, as I stated earlier, are Atali. They're both Atali. Overall, this deck is god tier. There may be a little bit of a slow start occasionally, but left unchecked, Prosper will allow you to control the board and then combo off till you nab a Storm card to just decimate your opponents at once. I only use this deck alongside higher power decks, so please rule 0 with your opponents. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deck tech, please subscribe for more randomly put out deck techs. Goodbye. Why do I always have to piss every time that I record my voice? This is bullshit. Is a one-shot end of turn 3 cards, as well as... I need to reword this. Consuming Vapors? Consuming Vapor, which double God damn, my mouth is dry. Treasure +1 for each treasure creator. Double Vision. Double Vision. Abbot of the Carol Keep. It doesn't say of the... Florian.